Hey guys, it's Rob from Team DBZ Biscuit again, and I'm back by popular demand with yet another build on my Chaos Dragon deck profile. We did it once, you guys loved it, and I'm about to hit you again with it. Some changes, not many, but you know, the basic is still the same. So let's get into it and see what we got coming at you. Like any good Chaos Dragon build I have, it starts off with the Light Sworn engine, which is a very powerful engine in its own right. Starts off with 3 Luminas. Lumina's great because A, she mills 3, and B, you can pitch a card and get a Light Sworn out of the graveyard, which is usually you want to target your Raiden. Or if you got a Plague Spreader sitting in your graveyard, maybe you want to hit a Lila, pop that pesky back row, and go into a Trishula play. But she is great. That followed by 3 of the main tuner of the engine of the deck. I thought it was 3, maybe it's only 2. No, it is 3. Misplaced of cards, sorry guys. Raiden's great because he will mill a total of 4. You know, he can mill for 2 and then he mills 2 and then, you know, he gains 200 if you mill a Light Sworn monster in that 2. You know, and he, like I said, he's the chief tuner. He's your gateways into Michaels. He's your gateways into level 8. Level 8 synchros. He's up. Hey, you mill a wolf, who knows? Maybe I'm going to go into a Minerva and mill 3 more. It's just a mishmash of milling. As I try to say it and I trip over my own tongue. He's followed by 3 of the Destroyer, Raikou. Raikou is a flip summon, you know, and he can, you know, somebody swings into him, you can pop a card and mill 3. You know, and the nice thing is, you know, with weird things going on in the meta nowadays, you know, the popping isn't a necessary effect. You don't have to destroy something, but you still get to mill 3. So, think about that when you're playing Raikou. I run 2 Lilas. 2 Lilas are just to pop those pesky back rows, and honestly, she mills 3. You know, and as in any Light Sworn, it's all about getting that graveyard full in any Chaos deck. It's getting that graveyard filled. You know, you don't want to see Macro, you don't want to see a D-Fissure, you don't want to see Banishers of Radiance. You want to get that graveyard filled. I run a series of 1/4s, and they are Minerva, Garroth, Wolf, and Felice. Felice, well, let's start with Minerva first. Minerva's great because if you dump her on a Solar Recharge or you mill her with a Charge of the Light Brigade, say, she mills an extra 1. She doesn't mill by being sent from the field, but she's good in her own way. Not to mention, if you're really desperate and you need a Trish play, you go Lumina for Lumina into Minerva, and then you synchro all 3 because she is a level 3 tuner, and you can make a Trishula, and you can just, you know, great play 1, banish. You know, just start banishing stuff before your opponent gets to draw a card. Garroth's very simple. He will mill when a Light Sworn effect mills. That's, say you have him and Raiden on the field, you'll mill for Raiden, then you mill for Garroth, then you get to draw for how many Light Sworns Garroth mills. And then at the end phase effect, if he mills 2 again, you mill 2 more, and you draw for those 2. So it's a really crazy chain of events with that guy. Wolf is self-explanatory. You know, he's good Solar Recharge fodder. He's a good Lumina fodder. You know, if he's in your hand. If you mill him off an effect, he comes out of the graveyard. Same to be said for Felice, but Felice has a really nice kicker to it. Felice can pop a card on the field and then mill 3 when he does so. So, there's a lot to remember with your Light Sworn engine. My Chaos engine is helped along by a Burning Abyss milling engine, which is rather insane. It's a series of 1/4, so it's obviously the 1/4 Tour Guide, the 1/4 Seer, who gets 1 out of the graveyard. The 1/4 Barbar will burn you for every Burning Abyss monster you can banish out of your graveyard when he's sent. Graph, who will search your deck for anybody, which is most times, for me, Skarm. And then of course the other Burning Abyss monster I do run 1 Farfa, and Farfa is a good banish card. He can set you up for the single turn kill. as I call it. You know, it's not a turn 1 kill because you can't attack on turn 1 anymore. But the insane thing is, you can banish a monster, you just go off on the guy, and you can end up leveling him with, God, easily 10,000 attack in 1 turn with this deck. But again, all your Bring Your Best monsters, you know, any of these guys can be special summoned with Tour Guide's effect. Tour Guide's effect is special summon, overlay into a Dante, or in some cases you may want to overlay into a Break Sword. Break Sword detach, you know, pop a card on the field and pop one of your own cards, pop the monster on the field. It's really excellent. It's a good string of events. It's a good, it's just really good. You know, the Burning Abyss mentioned, of course, Dante, you know, Mills 3, like I said, which is most important when you're trying to get a Chaos deck running. You want lights, you want darks, you want that deck to be terribly well balanced. And honestly, this deck is really well balanced. My tuners, other tuners in this deck, and it goes without saying, I run 1 glow up bulb because if I could do that Michael play and I mill a glow up bulb off a Raiden, I can take that Michael, I can banish your monster, and then I can make Crystal Wing Dragon. Crystal Wing? Yes, Crystal Wing. Yeah, Crystal Wing, and then you get that 1 free negate on any monster effect. And then you also get his secondary effect. If they special summon something with a level 5 or higher, he will literally take all their attack, add it to himself, and then they'll still take 3k, which is insane. Plague Spreader Zombie, need that Dark Tuner because when you see my extra deck, you're gonna understand why. And Plague Spreader is a great effect because all you gotta do is replace 1 on the deck, and then it just goes. But as far as the Chaos Dragon engine goes, I run 2 Light Pulsars, and I run 1 Dark Flare. Dark Flare, not as a major role as he used to be. He's more here for banishing fodder, and he is just here for more for allure plays and this, that, and the other thing. Light Pulsar is a hero still, because if he gets destroyed, you can special summon 1 dragon out of the graveyard, which you usually hope is Darkness Metal. Darkness Metal, you know, and it's crazy because Darkness Metal comes out, activate Darkness Metal's effect, bring out that Light Pulsar. And then, of course, you can notice I'm running a series of level 6s here, so we know what I'm going to go after. And that's why I'm running 2 Plague Spreaders as well. What would a Chaos engine be without Konami? What were you thinking about bringing this guy back to 3? I'm still wondering, but hey, as a Chaos Dragon player, I am grateful as hell. Because BLS is just so good. You attack something, you hit it, they take damage, you get to attack again. And if you just, I mean, in that 25D, he's big, he's beefy, you can just sit there and start banishing things for no reason at all. And just keep doing it. People can only take so much when decks are very graveyard dependent in this format. I also run 2 Chaos Horses. Notice, guys, again, level 6. That's very important to what I was saying about the Plague Spreader. I mean, granted, Glow Up Bulb, the only thing I'm going to make out of my extra deck with that is a Black Rose. Just so I can nuke the field. But to get your opponent top decking, that would be nice. I run 1 Dark Arm Dragon just for that. He also is more allure fodder than anything else, because this deck usually runs so quickly that I usually end up with more than 3 darks in the graveyard. And of course, I run the Whiteborn favorite, Judgment Dragon. All I need is 4 to come out and nuke the field. And that does it for the monster lineup. As you can tell, extremely heavy in the monsters, but it's a necessary evil when running Chaos Dragons. My spell cards, it's a trio of, it's a couple of 3-ofs and a 2-of. No, actually it's a trio of 3-ofs. Solar Recharge, great card. Pitch the light, play it, pitch a Lightsworn, draw 2, mill 2. So there you go, mill 6. Recharge of the Light Brigade, mill 9, and then add And it's a Stratos. It searches. It can search your Luminas, your Raidens, your Bracos. It can any level 4 Lightsworn monster or lower. And the third, Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness, very important, because if you're breaking with them, if Dark Flare gets in your hand with nothing, if a Chaos Sorcerer with nothing in the grave, use Allure, dump that stuff, get rid of it. There's plenty of other ways to banish stuff, there's other ways of making stuff, and that's what Allure does. Allure is a draw 2, banish 1. You know, if you brick, you play Allure, you extend Dark, you draw 2, you banish Dark Flare. The next thing you know, you could be sitting on you could draw a Solar Recharge and a Charge of the Light Brigade one turn, and then you can just go off from that point. It's insane. But that's the main deck. The side deck is built basically just for things I dread. And I started off with 3 Denkosekas because I dread Paleo still. Paleo is still a thing, it's not going away. But you ever see a Paleo player set 5 and go, and you draw, and you summon a Denkoseka, they usually want to either kill you or flip the table. I back him up with 2 Honest. 2 Honest is at 3, but I think 2 it's good enough because, I mean, honestly, it protects everything. It protects your Luminas, your Raidens, it can protect your Denkos, it can OTK somebody with a BLS on board. I mean, if their monster is big enough that you drop an Honest, you attack with a BLS, you drop an Honest, Lord, that's going to be some pain. I said 3 Soul Releases, and a lot of people will say, why Soul Release? Why not Soul Release? Because in this meta, which is crazy as it is, you might find a mirror match of some sort of Lightsworn build, a Lightsworn variant, Fairy Tail Snow. Fairy Tail Snow, honestly, the most obnoxious card I've ever seen in my life. Flip things face down, just banish 10 cards and special summon it anytime you want. And in this deck, you know, you've got 10 cards in the graveyard at all times. So, play Soul Release, banish that Fairy Tail Snow, let's see how they do then. I run 2 Call by the Graves because in this meta, it's still very graveyard dependent. You know, somebody shows you that they want to special summon a BLS of their own, you say, okay, Call by the Grave, banish their 1 dark monster, now they can't do it. And it's a quick play spell, so you can do it that way. As soon as they say, I'm going to special summon, you say, no you're not. I mean, it's pretty much a dick move, but, you know, it happens. I follow that up with a couple Royal Decrees, because, I mean, Denko can't always do it by himself. You know, you need to make it as hard on that Paleo player as possible, and though with Decree they can still activate, the effects don't happen, you know, like the Banish or the Destroy a Back Row won't happen, but they still get to go to the graveyard, then they can activate another one, and then, you know, it just gets messy after that. That's why Denko is the preferred way to do it. Royal Decree is just there for support. Because Monarchs are still a thing, I still run 2 Mask of Restricts. I've seen variants of Monarch builds, and, you know, even like the Kaiju player likes to tribute off your stuff. You get your monsters on board. You got him against the ropes. And how many guys out there have had their opponent against the ropes, ready to give them the knockout punch? They rip Interrupted Kaiju Slumber as a 1/0, and then just wreck your day. Just think about it. Mask or Restrict, you can't tribute any of my monsters off, which is just great. And my last one, and it's going to seem pretty strange seeing I run 9 spell cards. I run 1 Imperial Order because things like Sky Strikers, amongst other decks out there in the meta today, they rely so heavily on their Hornet Drones, their Widow Anchors, their this, their that, and the other things. So many decks rely on field spell cards. You know what? Pay the 700, negate all that crap. And then with Chaos Dragons as it is, I mean, granted, you shut down your stuff, but honestly, with only 9 spell cards in the deck out of 45, I believe it was, you know, you're gonna have the monster muscle. one of my favorite games on Dueling Nexus. I went through 2 solar recharges, 1 Charge of the Light Brigade, and 1 Allure of Darkness. I had everything I needed in my hand. I set Imperial Order. The guy was playing Sky Strikers. I activated Imperial Order. He could do nothing. He could blink summon, and that was about it. But that's the side deck. My extra deck, not very different. I run 1 Minerva Exalted Lightsworn. Like I said, she detach 3, detach 1, mill 3, and then you draw for each Lightsworn milled. You can do it up to twice, and then if she gets destroyed, you get to mill 3 more, which is always a nice bonus when you're trying to get everything in the grave. I run 2 Dantes of the Burning Abyss, just because the milling is that important. Getting lights, getting darks, getting everything into the grave. And as you noticed, Burning Abyss monsters, they're all darks. So once you detach them, they're in there. My last XYZ monster, Phantom Knight Breaksword. Breaksword is great because, like I said, you detach 1, you blow, even if you have to blow him up. You blow him up, and then you get to take out one of your opponent's cards. In the Synchro engine, I run 1 Black Rose Dragon because blowing up somebody's shield is so much fun. I run 2 Michaels because, you know, banishing people's stuff is so much fun. You know, in a meta where things can't be destroyed. You know, who said anything about destroying? Banish this stuff. It's just as fun. My level 8s, I run 1 Crimson Blader, and my primary reason for running Crimson Blader, Blue Eyes is still a thing. You run over somebody's, Sage. They set a Sage, and you run it over. You know what? Go ahead, run that thing over. Next turn, they can't special summon anything level 5 or higher. So they're pretty much relegated to setting Sages or playing, Maiden. And even off of that, you attack into Maiden, all she can do is negate the attack because you can't special summon until the end of your next turn. I run, and this is why I'm running double Plague Spreaders and all those level 6s, guys. This deck will easily make 2 Beals. So imagine this, you have a Beals on board, you tribute it off for a Light Pulsar Dragon, and then you Light Pulsar, banish off, you go into Darkness Metal, and then you bring back a Beals. How much of a pain in the butt is that? Beals at 2 is ridiculous. I run 1 Crystal Wing, because like I said, that 1 onboard negation, that 1 monster that can win you the game that you negate. I mean, choices are hard. It's difficult to choose which one. But just remember, if they're going to special something really big and nasty, and they attack into this, and they forget that secondary effect, you know what? You don't say they don't get to recall the attack. They still have to go through with it, and this will take all his attack. So say it's let's say it's an Obelisk the Tormentor. Somebody attacks Crystal Wing with an Obelisk the Tormentor. Crystal Wing will go to 7,000. Obelisk will be at basically 4K. He'll still take 3K. And then my 1 level 9, Trishula the Ice Barrier. Trishula is great. Like I said, if you turn 1 Trishula, you can put your opponent in a -1 position turn 1. It's hard to do, but it's doable. And putting them in a negative is better than having them running around the pluses. I run a couple of links. Decode Talker, just because I love to special summon and I can make this guy big and beefy, and let's see, I think I've had him up to like 38 because I've had monsters in every extra monster zone there is that he's hooked up to. I also run 1 Borrelguard Dragon. Borrelguard, because I don't have a second Borreload anymore. But Borreload is ridiculous in his own right. He doesn't need a lot of support. He doesn't need a lot of help. He can literally minus any monster of 500. he can steal a monster if he attacks it, and just puts it in his hookup zone, you know, into one of the zones he points to. He is honestly really ridiculous, but that's it, guys. That's Chaos Dragon for the October-November 2018 ban list. You know, like, subscribe to the channel. This is Rob from Team DBZ Biscuit, and I'm out of here.